Hello and welcome to the Video Game Book Club. This month we read Watch Dogs in Dark Clouds.
No, it's just Dark Clouds. I don't know where the N
It's
is.
//in/Dark
backslash.
Clouds. /in.
But then when I looked it up on everything, it just said Dark Clouds.
Depends.
So
Sometimes the wikis said in Dark Clouds.
yeah. By Mr. John Shirley.
By our boy John Shirley.
This is the third John Shirley, and I will just say I apologize to everyone that I chose this book.
It's not that bad. It's not memorable, but it's not that bad. It's no Borderlands novel.
I definitely almost fell asleep reading it several times.
I finished it in a day, so.
It's pretty short.
It's a 5-hour, 51-minute read according to
Kindle, because it's only an ebook.
Kindle. Yeah, it's only an ebook. It's apparently there were 2 versions released of this ebook. One had interactive elements.
What
and it
would
was
even
an
be
app.
interactive?
It had videos and
Videos
stuff.
of what?
I wish I knew.
drones?
It's lost media. You can't find it anywhere, and I was really bummed because I was I think this book would be better. Obviously, the second one's just the normal ebook that we read, but I think this book would be better if there was interactive elements in it. I heard that one book once. It was Kingdom Keepers, and it had interactive elements because you could go on a website. They would list a website, you would go on it, you could put in a code from the book, and you'd see extra stuff on there.
There's some that came with soundtracks, so it was
That's cool.
music as you read. And I like those features. I think are good.
And I really wish this wasn't lost media because if you guys know how to get it, I'd love to know.
Is it in the Wayback Machine?
It's not. And it used to be, they said it was an app. They say you could buy it from Ubisoft.com, but now it links to a dead link.
Dead sick.
I'm kind of bummed. I really wish
Something would have made this book a little
they didn't
better.
keep it around for very long.
Well, this book came out May 29th, 2014, and guess when Watch Dogs came out?
At the same time.
May 26th, 2014.
Whoa!
So this book is supposed to be after the first game.
Direct sequel.
And so this came out 3 days after the first game.
So you better finish it in 3 days.
Because there is a spoiler in here for the game.
There is a spoiler. In fact, a lot of reviews of this game, they were like, if you didn't play Watch Dogs, you wouldn't know what was happening. And I don't think that's true.
No, because this book had very little to do with Watch Dogs.
There was one thing that was really about Watch Dogs.
And that's Aiden's bone. And the fact that Aiden Pierce is
I would say the guy he killed.
At the end?
He brings up, there's a guy that you kill in Watch Dogs that is brought up in this one. And
but it was so consequential. It was thrown in there as so my conspiracy theory is that
because it's the reason why there's a hit out on it.
Yeah, my whole thing is that, and I wrote this in the Fable, and I wrote this on Goodreads, is that I feel like John Shirley had a book in mind about...
We said that about Borderlands.
Yes, and I feel like, because he writes other books.
He does.
And he wanted to make this military thriller about this wolf guy and Varric, which also reminded me of The Punisher, but he wrote this before the Punisher series came out, although that's a different tangent. But, that's the book he wanted to write. And then they're like, guess what, John? You have been chosen to write a Watch Dog. And so...
in his description, he was well-known sci-fi writer and well-known amongst the hacking community. And I was like...
there was
John?
Yeah.
Shirley?
There's very little
members of the hacking community. Do you know John Shirley?
Because he sure should have
put he a hacker man?
More stuff in here about that. Because this is really a military thriller.
Barely it's this guy brings up that he's ex-military all the time, and it has helped him out, but
it has to do with the drones and stuff too.
Oh my god. Yeah, I guess you're right.
And then there's white nationalism in here, and I was just
always.
So I was really bored. It's not really a thriller, true. It was supposed to be, but it was not very thrilling. It was kind of boring.
I really liked, so I'm not a big fan of Aiden Pierce, but he's just being real silly in this book.
He has a concussion, and he's out of the book most of the,
he's a real
he pops
goofy
in
guy.
every once in a while. He's stalking him virtually, and that's about it.
When I think of Aiden Pierce, I think about that scene in Watch Dogs where he's grieving his niece at her grave, and then immediately when the cutscene ends, it says vault over grave. You can just vault over her grave and run away, and that's him. That's him in my mind. Yeah.
But it was, I was hoping for more hacking Watchdog stuff, And that's not what I got in this book. So I don't know why I had any hopes, because this is the third John Shirley. We really liked the
Bioshock's good.
Bioshock. The Borderlands was awful.
It was the weirdest thing I've ever read in my life.
And how many
I
times
think
did
about
they
it all the
mention
time.
a child prostitute ring in this book?
Oh, well, that's a thing in Watch Dogs, remember? You stop a prostitute ring.
But I don't want to read.
That was like the coolest part of
it.
Watch Dogs is you actually stop a human trafficking ring. And that's like the dream.
But I was, because it's John Shirley and because of what happened in...
It was a lot as sexual as Borderlands, which I appreciated. I definitely thought it would get there with the main love interest that was shoehorned in midway book.
So weird.
And I was like, okay.
And then the thing at the end, I was like, wait, what happened? But we'll get into that when we get into spoilers.
I liked the twist at the end of this book. I was like, whoa, no way.
Oh, Blank? You're talking about Blank?
I'm talking about Blank.
He was the MVP of this book.
He was the main character.
I still have kind of questions because
I looked up. I was like, "Is Blank in Watch Dogs?" I wish.
Yeah.
He's not, but I wish he was because he sounds cool, and he had a cool twist. So
I did start playing Watch Dogs again because I was like, "Is Aiden Pierce supposedly knows Mick Wolfe?"
Our main character of this book.
Main character,
Mick Jeremiah Wolfe.
Jeremiah Wolfe,
which sounds so.
He's ex-military.
So
he's also
so detective
gang member. And...
I forgot, like, Aiden was part of a gang because he's such a white dad.
Yeah.
That I'm like, what gang?
Well, to Chicago.
Still.
It's an Irish gang.
Is he Irish?
His name's Pierce.
Pierce?
Pierce is Irish.
Sure.
As is Wolf. Well, Wolf is German, but Mick is definitely Irish.
But Mick! Mickey Wolfe.
So.
Apparently there's another character named Wolf in Legion, but he's not related because he's British.
It's a possibility.
But it's Wolf with an E, so...
So we finished Watch Dogs 1, the game. I started playing Watch Dogs 2, and I thought it was stupid because you have to win likes.
I'm pretty sure that nobody likes Watch Dogs 2.
I've tried to give it away several times, and no one will take it.
Watch Dogs Legion, not 3, is, I would say, mixed reception on that one.
It was way better than 2.
I kind of liked the idea of it where you get to recruit.
I was definitely a grandma for like half
all
that
those
game.
People, and then you get to play as them.
But then you kill them.
But then you can kill them. It's like The Sims, but it's Watch Dogs. Yeah. Interesting.
I liked the only thing that I liked about 2 was you're in San Francisco and you get to go to like Alcatraz and walk around in the city stuff. And
people were pretty mad about 2's portrayal of San Francisco.
Well, it's all jammed together. But
I know. It's probably the same people with the Chicago.
Yeah. The Chicago, you got to go see some infamous sites and like the
But, like,
tourist part of
smushed.
it. Yeah. So the games were like okay for us, and
I mean, I liked the first Watch Dogs. I just hate Aiden.
yeah.
So it's really hard to play a game where you're like, cool, but you...
Yeah, he's like the anti-hero, right?
Is he?
He's morally ambiguous.
I don't know. He's just annoying.
He does some good things and a lot of bad things.
What is he like? He's trying to make up for his gang crime life
I don't know.
by committing
killing,
more
yeah.
crimes. Oh no, my niece died. Time to go commit crimes to
But
solve it.
DedSec is also such a huge part of the games, and it was such a minor part of this book.
They're currently mad at Aiden, which is probably something that happened in the first Watch Dogs that I completely forgot.
Well,
Because they bring that up and he's like, "Oh, DedSec's not really happy with me right now."
yeah. Well, I mean, he encroaches on their territory. Although he helped them out quite a bit.
I know. I thought they were like BFFs, but I don't remember what happens at the end enough to know.
Yeah, we played it a while ago, but
When it came out, we played it.
yes,
And that was 2014.
10 years ago.
Dang. You think I want to remember that?
No. Book-wise,
Book-wise,
I
gave it 2.5. Because it didn't, like, out of all the John Shirley books, it didn't offend me personally. But I didn't have a great time.
The plot I thought was poorly written and thought out. The Project Iceberg, which we'll talk about in spoilers, was so stupid. I'm sorry, John, but
in my mind, Watch Dogs was kind of dumb. So when I read this, I was like, yeah, this fits. This fits what I thought Watch Dogs was in my brain.
I thought you did not have a high opinion of Watch Dogs because it's a lot of sneak around, hack this and do that, and
I kind of liked. I just don't like Aiden.
Yeah,
I just don't like Aiden.
There's a lot of driving in the game too, and I suck at driving in video games. So. Which brings us to the very first part of this book is the definition of a watchdog.
What is the definition?
Well, there was 3 definitions, and the only one that I wrote down because I thought was funny was an individual who sees behind the curtain and is prepared to step forward when the need arises.
Are we starting?
We are starting.
Okay, we'll spoil the whole book for you and potentially Watch Dogs. At least like a mission in Watch Dogs.
Well, it's kind of, the end. Towards the end.
I don't know if it's towards the end. It could be in the middle.
No, because you collect stuff about Quinn. Lucky Quinn, who's super gross.
Well, I guess you know more than I do.
I didn't get that far in it. And I was like, why am I playing this game again?
So yeah, we're going to spoil Watch Dogs. I'm just going to say we're going to spoil Watch Dogs and we're going to spoil this book. So if you want to read this,
pause it and come back once you're done.
Godspeed. And if you don't, and you just want to know what happens in it, welcome. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's start chapter 1.
We start with Aiden Pierce. Someone's stalking him.
What? It says we start with Mick Jeremiah Wolfe, ex-Delta Force, ex-mob runner, looking for his friend, Aiden Pierce.
Well, someone's on Aiden's Pierce trail. He's on Aiden.
We are Mick.
Yeah.
And he's like, where's Aiden? I know him from my gang years, and I have to meet him up in this alleyway because me and, like, T-Bone gave him the info or whatever.
Yeah, T-Bone comes up several times, and I kept forgetting who T-Bone was, but Mick Wolfe has a record, so he went to prison.
He did. He went to prison. He just got out of prison. He was like, you know who I should find immediately
But he
after
went to
getting
military
out of
prison, so that is different, and I don't know why he did not talk about that, but...
What, going to military prison?
Yeah.
He talks about that sometimes.
Yes, but he's not meeting T-Bone in military prison.
T-Bone is part of DedSec, isn't he?
He has ties to DedSec.
Everyone has ties to DedSec.
Everyone knows
Nobody's a DedSec member. They all just have ties to
Except
DedSec.
for Glowworm.
It's like a Disney where you're like, I'm friends with DedSec.
Which confused me one time. I was at Disneyland. I was wearing a Megara shirt, and the lady at the ride was like, "Oh, I haven't seen my friend Megara in a long time," and I was like, "Wait, Megara was here?
Your friend?"
I wish Megara was there. She's amazing. Okay, but back to Watch Dogs. Yeah, so Mick Jeremiah Wolfe is stalking Aiden Pierce.
He's not really stalking him. He was told to meet him in an alleyway.
He's been looking for him because he needs his assistance.
And so he like went to the place he was supposed to meet him, and Pierce is there, like at the distance. Imagine an alleyway. He's like really far on down. He's like, Pierce, is that you?
I know him.
And then a car pulls up behind Pierce, and he's like, is this part of the bit? And someone comes out of the car and points a gun. He sees a little like flash, points a gun at Aiden and shoots him, and then gets in the car and drives away.
Yeah, Aiden falls down. There is a whole bunch of stuff that, like, we get it's an information dump in the first chapter. Like, you find out about CTOS, which is the camera operating systems, and they're watching everyone. There's this whole stupid thing about only a fool listens to his conscience that happens throughout the entire book. Because he's like, oh, I shouldn't have listened to my conscience. My conscience is the thing that got me in trouble. I'm like, that's not what you think it is. And there's this whole, like, morality thing that didn't parcel out.
It's funny when people try to do, like, a gray morality thing. And they always bunk it because it's not about...
My dad listened to his conscience, and look what happened to him. And I did my conscience, and look what happened to me. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, they talk about his dad a lot, too. Because he's like, Aiden knew my dad, and he helped me get out of the gang because my dad asked him to, but then he might have killed my dad.
Yeah, so...
That's Mick speaking. Mick Jeremiah Wolfe, detective. I thought he was a detective because of his names for so long, and then I realized he's just some ex-con.
Ex-military.
Ex-Delta Force.
Discharged. So his father was a friend of Pierce, and he was part of the Irish Liberation.
Okay.
And he was killed by a bomb, and, like, Pierce couldn't help it. So he helped the kid instead and got him out of gangs when he was 12. When Wolfe was 12, not Pierce.
Yeah, Pierce was, like, 16.
Pierce is older.
Not that much older.
Yeah.
If I remember Pierce from the game, because this happens...
He's like in his 30s in the game, right?
He is?
I think so.
He looks so young. Actually, I can't really see him because he wears a baseball cap and a scarf all the time. Those piercing green eyes.
Wolf has DedSec contacts, and that's DedSec is a hacker group
Yep.
that is worthless in this book, by the way.
They're worthless in general, let's be real.
Yeah, someone in a van shot Pierce. Wolf's phone has no service, so we can't call 911, but it doesn't matter because an ambulance shows up.
Yeah, he runs up and holds Aiden in his arms tenderly.
He's like bleeding
as
from
he's
the head.
bleeding
At
from the
first,
head.
I was through the first chapter, I was like, this is a setup
I know!
from Aiden to
That's
be
what
like,
I thought. He was like, no one can know I'm alive because everyone thinks Aiden Pierce is dead right now. And
Yeah.
because of the end of Watch Dogs, they're like, oh, he's dead. But Mick's like, I know he's alive. So then he meets him and he was like, oh, he's trying to show him that he actually is dead by killing himself.
Yeah, I thought he was like, this creepy kid keeps trying to stalk me. I'm just going to fake my own death because I don't want to talk to you.
Because an ambulance shows up like immediately and they pick him up and they put him in the ambulance.
And there's a medic
like,
with
"I'm
dirty
going-"
fingernails.
Yeah, Mick's like, this is weird. Medics don't have dirty fingernails. I don't know if that's true or not, but I guess because they wash their hands a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, he keeps asking, like, where are you going to take him? And
They
he's
also
like,
wear
"Oh."
gloves. Why was he not wearing gloves when he was handling this person who with a
That's a good point.
blood wound? Like, bloodborne pathogens training, dude. Come on. We know.
Well,
You
we
know
know
how to
this
touch
is
them.
we know this isn't an
Yeah.
EMT. So he's like, yeah,
Dirty
okay.
fingernails.
He's gonna go to the hospital around the corner.
And he tells him which hospital.
He tells him which hospital. And so
He's like, are you a relative, sir? Like,
he's not a great actor, okay?
so the ambulance takes off. Wolf bounces before the cops get there. He's like, oh no, there was a shooting. I just got out of prison, so
I don't want to deal with this.
bye.
So he goes to that hospital and asks the person at the front desk, like, what's up?
Yeah.
Where's Aiden Pierce? He was
There has
here.
been no gunshot victims that have arrived today.
Oh yeah, this is chapter 2, by the way. Look, also Mick stole a car. This is a common occurrence, and they keep bringing up car brands and names.
That's because of the game. You just steal whatever cars.
Yeah, but did they have like specific brands on the car? They have car deals
so.
in Watch Dogs?
It was like
They're like, oh, it's an Audi.
Yeah, it's just expensive cars that should all have security systems on it. So I don't know how he's stealing these cars because he doesn't have the special phone yet.
But yeah, we cut to Aiden waking up, and he's like, "Did Mick set me up to get shot in the head?"
Oh, Wolf is he knows the brand of the ambulance, so he goes to them first.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, we didn't pick up anyone there.
And then he gives the license plate number, and they're like, that car's inactive.
It's being serviced.
So...
And then an unmarked police car pulls up.
And it's Lieutenant Tranter, and he's like, what are you asking about Aiden Pierce for? And Mick's like, Aiden Pierce? I don't know him. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, yeah, okay, sure.
I just saw a guy get shot, and I'm just checking on him. Make sure he's alive.
I just have Tranter as a dirty cop working for the Bloom Corporation, which is run by a guy who got Mick dishonorably discharged. Mm-hmm. We learned that pretty early on.
Well, yeah, Varric is the one. So Varric...
We're just jumping all over the place.
He so the main players, you have Aiden, who's not really a main player.
Aiden's on the side.
He's like support. Wolf is your main character, and his nemesis is Varric, who was a major in the military, and Wolf saw something he wasn't supposed to, and Varric used that to get him dishonorably discharged and put into prison. And now Varric works for the Bloom Corporation.
Because he bought a bunch of stocks in it.
Yeah.
And now he's like their security officer or something like that.
And Varric is tied to Trantor, who is the detective.
Yeah, he's the dirty cop that will show up a lot. A lot.
So Aiden's was quite alive, but was almost wishing he wasn't because he got shot, and he has a doctor.
I was surprised he actually got shot.
I thought it was
definitely
faked.
thought this was a setup. Yeah. So when he was like, owie, my head, I'm like, oh, he actually got
real
shot.
Blood. Doc Morsky is in one of Pierce's safe houses. Puzzler?
Puzzler's the actor.
The fake EMT. He's a junkie ex-actor. And you have Clyde Maris, who is a programmer. He's like, who shot me?
He thinks it might be Mick who got this, which makes sense, right? He's like, I came to meet this guy, and then I got shot in the head. Mm-hmm. But he's still like unsure about that. Because he thinks that Mick did it because of Aiden might have been a part of killing Mick's dad.
Yeah. So Aiden's running a background check. He finds out that Wolfe has been was part of a perjury, assault because he hit Varric at the trial.
He hit Varric at the trial.
And then embezzlement. Yeah. So Varric is now the head of Bloom's security.
Oh, I was right. Yes.
Trantor wants to talk to Varric, so they're the ones that put the hit on Pierce. We find out Varric is bribing Trantor, and that they made a deal with the club. He tells Trantor that he wants both Aiden and Wolfe eliminated. Now we're on chapter 3.
Yeah, so he put the hit out on Aiden. That's what we know so far.
Yeah. It has something to do with the club.
Varric put the hit out on Aiden, has something to do with the club.
You don't find out that club connection until like way later in the book. Which is...
I mean, because you're like, why would this random dude put a hit out on Aiden Pierce? You don't know why until later.
Well, I'm assuming because he hacks all the Bloom stuff.
Yeah, because he's part of security and he hacks all the PTOs.
Freaking Aiden Bloom. Hacking into people's houses, looking at weird stuff. That was, I did a bunch of that in the game and I was like, I forgot how stupid this.
So chapter 3, I have Mick is doing research on Bloom, Varric, and CTOS.
He's Googling them at a bar and an Asian girl sees him. Lulu is her name.
Yeah.
And she tells him about the 4 clubs.
She's like, oh, Varric, I know that guy. He's at the 4 clubs.
This was also the dumbest thing.
And you should buy me a drink so I can give you more information.
Covacia is the name of the expensive cognac that I looked it up because I don't know anything about cognac. So I don't like it. Okay. There'll be 2. There's with the brand names with the brand names of the cars, we get the brand names of the alcohol as well.
I guess so. Weird brand stuff. Mm-hmm. Which is how I felt when we read the Dead Island book too.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Why are these specific brands? They're like, oh, they're watching Friends on TV. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why?
She also tells him that Varric sees a particular prostitute and her name is Rose Blue.
Rose Blue.
Rose Blue deserves
I was double checking if Lulu was in the game, but I don't see anything. Because, like, she's so random. Yeah. I thought maybe, like, she was a reference to someone in the game, which would make sense, right? You'd be like, oh, I'm friends with DeadSick. So, yeah, he has to go out to find...
It's an illegal club, and he doesn't quite know where it is, but he kind of knows where it is, and Lulu won't tell him because she, is smart and doesn't want to be killed by the club. And so he's, like, driving around, and he sees...
Rose Blue. I don't know. Did she show him a picture of her or?
She described her.
Oh.
She wears red and blue, which hence the name.
All right. So he follows Rose Blue, and sees her go into like some sketchy room. It's like, what's the password? Mm-hmm. And they see Wolfe behind her, and they're like,
he pretends to be a homeless person a lot in this story.
He probably looks like one. I imagine a real scruffy guy that does not look 25.
And so he's checking the place out, acting drunk, and he goes to the back door where it's the only place where a person doesn't have a gun.
He sees Kurt O'Malley.
Which he knew from
the hood.
From his gang days. He's like, I'm looking for a job. I just got out of prison. He's like, well, I could probably vouch for you, but... give me a moment. And he's like, I don't have a moment.
Yeah, he's like, come back tomorrow. And he's like, oh, come on. Let me just talk to him right now. And he's like, oh, 1 second. And he's like, you want to smoke a J? And he's like, I definitely want to smoke a J. Yeah. And then he knocks him out.
Puts him in a
closet. Steals his outfit.
Mm-hmm. Varric has a drug problem.
He has the oxy problem because he hurt his back.
Mm-hmm. He takes a lot of it. And he talks about purity, which...
So stupid.
He
talks about Purity, which is a secret club, and then he tells it to his stripper prostitute, Rose Blue, and now he's like, oh, now I have to kill her.
Because he's high, and he's like, oh, I probably shouldn't have
shouldn't have said the word Purity, now I have to kill her.
I'm getting tired of her anyways, so like, oh next lady after I murder her.
This sounds like a perfect, like, oh, we have to make this guy sound bad.
Man.
Right?
Well, he's just a dick. And he's totally naked, by the way.
Yeah, they're both nude.
And Wolfe comes in as a busboy. And this was the stupidest thing.
Wolfe comes in, pulls out a pistol.
Clear my name!
Varric realizes it's Wolfe. Mick tells Varric to tell him the truth, and then you'll never hear from me again. And Varric's like, I'm not gonna do that. Well, he agrees, but he's like, definitely not.
Yeah.
And then Mick's like, you don't seem like you're honest about it. I should just
Varric
kill
has
you.
killed people, and Wolfe has seen Varric kill people, and so he's like, I'm gonna trust you to clear my name, or else I'm gonna get you. And Varric is just like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah, the door opens right as Mick's like, I'm gonna kill you, actually. I changed my mind.
Honker and
Honker, the
Luke
bouncer.
Kelly.
Bouncer of the club comes in, and like Varric's trying to get his gun out of his pants because he's nude right now.
Yeah, his pants are on the ground.
Yeah, so
And he's high.
And he's high. So Mick is shooting at him. Varric uses Rose as a shield. And the lights go out, and Wolfe jumps out the window and runs away.
He then is picked up by the ambulance and is told that Pierce has been watching him and through the CTOS and that you owe him.
Yep.
Everyone owes Pierce.
I guess.
And he calls, collects. Chapter 4, Trainer comes up, and Varric doesn't really want the police involved, but he does at the same time.
He's like, I want you to arrest Wolfe, and also I need you to kill Rose. Oh no, he did kill Rose.
Yeah, he did. He's coming back.
And he buried her in
he's
the parking lot.
5 feet. She's 5 feet under, boss. Varric is going to use CTOS to find Wolfe and Pierce. It's like, joke's on you.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Because Pierce has a part of his phone thing, whatever, it blurs him, which happens in the game, and he gives it to Wolfe too, and he's like, make sure you press this button after every street you cross.
After every street.
And of course Wolfe is...
Just have it constantly be pressed. So Wolfe is in Aiden's, one of Aiden's hideouts because he's a billion.
This is the thing that pissed me off at the end of the book, is when they go to his actual safe house where he lives, and they're like, oh man, we should ask for an upgrade. It's like, no. He gave you a safe place. Sure.
He gave you a pretty nice room,
Yeah.
and it had like
kitchen and all that
booze in
stuff.
it.
You drank its booze, and you thought it was your house.
He set you
Stupid.
up.
Yeah.
So it's like the 7th floor of this abandoned building.
And there's scotch in the drawer.
And
they
Pierce
tell us
calls
the
him.
name, but it doesn't matter.
Pierce calls him on the TV and asks him, why did you do that at the 4 clubs?
Mm-hmm.
What was up with that? That was weird. So he tells him the whole story. And both of them don't really trust each other. But Pierce tells him that Varric and Tranter are BFFs. He's like, saw you talking to Tranter. He's a bad cop, and he works for Varric.
This is where we get the Somalia story, too, right?
Aiden wants to know who shot him, and he wants help from Wolfe, who has special software to help him with satellite imagery. Because Pierce is like, I got the picture of the dude who shot me, but like I can't.
It's fuzzy.
I can't enhance enough.
Yeah.
So, and I know you were part of the military's satellite drone group. So do you? And he's like, yeah, I have special software. I kept it before they sent me to jail.
Yeah, I put it on a flash drive, and I emailed it to myself.
So yeah, I could just do that. No problem.
On a computer somewhere. We do hear, so Wolf's Somalia story is that he got a medal, but then he saw something that he shouldn't have. There was an assassin. So there was these 2 Humvees that went out, and he was piloting
drone
a
operator.
drone, and so he moved. They're like, Eric's like, don't look over here, and so he's like, I wonder what's over there.
He's a superior officer, and he tells him to only look in these certain boundaries, and he was like, that's super weird. So he does go over there anyway.
And there's 2 Humvees. The first one stops, and then guys get out of it, and then they use an RPG to blow up the second one. Mm-hmm. And then they moved the second Humvee.
And then there's another car that they kill a bunch of dudes in.
That was the 2 Humvees, and they left them
I was
there
very
with the
confused
RPG.
by this. They RPG one car. They kill everyone in another
They
car.
they RPG'd both. It was weird.
But they take a car back.
Yeah.
So there's 3 cars?
I don't know.
This story was a little bit confusing. Let's see what I wrote down.
The people that they killed in the Humvees were Navy SEALs, and there's 6 that were dead, and they were bringing $140 million to this militant group in Somalia. And so Varric took the $140 million and killed the 6 Navy SEALs.
Varric and a guy named Callahan.
Yeah. And then they set it up to look
he ID'd them.
Yeah. Because they looked up at the drone, and he's like,
yeah,
facial recognition.
With my satellite imagery.
And
so Mick decided to tell the base commander Van Ness.
Yeah, General Van Ness.
And then also a CIA agent is the
Attaché.
two people that he told about this.
And then he's like, "Oh, this is what I get for having a conscience." Because but he told them after he found out from some random person that 6 Navy SEALs died. So your conscience would have told you to tell someone after you saw your superior officer murder other people. Not, oh no.
Yeah, but he was like, well, maybe they're bad guys. And then he sees about the 6 Navy SEAls and he finally tells somebody.
And you would have named who it was. Because he didn't say who it was. He said...
He didn't.
There's this stuff going on.
But the CIA agent asked for proof, so he goes to his computer, but he finds out that his computer's been swapped.
Yeah, he's like, this is a different...
And then Van Ness turned him in for selling classified data, quote unquote, to Al-Qaeda.
Yeah. Which he would have gone to jail for a lot longer than he did, if that was the case. So I think they let it down. But...
Yeah. Varick testified against him in court. Callahan, the other dude, part of it, he was a drunkard and he got exploded.
Yeah.
Probably by Varick.
Well, later,
Varick just kills everyone that is attached to him, really. Then using the money that they stole from that truck
to buy shares
in Bloom.
And we find out later that it was, what's the word? Siphoned through the club.
Oh, yeah. Dirty money.
Has
to get siphoned.
Chapter 5?
They talk about Purity, a secret political organization, and Varick is a board member, and their cover business is called Iceberg Investments.
Because there's the Iceberg Project, which was stupid.
So they're going to try and find the guy who shot Pierce. So after we got that big backstory about Mick and Varick and their backstory, and Aiden's also just there.
Yeah.
So chapter 5, yeah.
Varick is using a drone to illegally hunt deers somewhere.
In a cabin far away.
No.
A fancy smart house cabin.
Which that was also weird. I didn't need that at all.
He also is hanging out with this guy named Jeff Starling, who is the drone designer from the Air Force.
He's a piece of shit.
He's like such the Igor to this guy's villain. He's like, yes, master, do whatever you want.
These people are all white supremacists, by the way, or white nationalists, and so they're all about America.
It's so cartoony.
Yeah.
So you have the Varick evil mastermind who's like, shut up, Starling, slap, and Starling's like, oh, yes, master.
This is also where we meet
and he's also stinky.
Yeah, his description was not great.
He's
even afterwards when we see him a second time in person, it's like, ugh. And Varick is very rude to him all the time, and he's like, oh, but he's such a cool guy.
Yeah, classic villain stereotype.
So there's a lot of jumping back and forth in all of these chapters, and you get like a little hashtag.
Oh, yeah.
Little pound symbol.
Yeah, I put hashtags on my notes
to
separate them. I actually didn't hate that, because I was like, yeah, okay. Moving on to the next thing.
We meet Blank, MVP of this book.
Yeah, Mick was given a security camera scrambler, as we know. Mick has to go to the computer store to get parts. So
he's like, you gotta meet someone.
But you gotta meet somebody
before you get there.
So
he
meets
for you.
Blank, some homeless guy Pierce hired. He is very burned. He lives off the grid. I put, do we need to know this much about this guy? Because they explained Blank like a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but.
Because he doesn't have fingerprints, because of the burns on his face and head, he won't be picked up by CTOS.
So now we know all about Blank.
So he's like, meet me at... So he meets them, and then he's like, meet me at noon. And
meet me at a homeless camp.
Where you tried to find me before. And he's like, do you live there? He's like, no.
And then he dips. Mick is being followed by gangbangers, the Black Viceroys.
Yes.
So then we go chapter 6, and the gang is like, what are you going up into that abandoned building for? You have a safe house up there?
This is Viceroy territory. Everything here belongs to us.
Wolfe tries to make a deal saying, let me go if I can fisticuffs 2 of your guys.
Yeah, that's fine. No guns.
And they're like, okay, sure. Wolf's shirt gets ripped open, and they all see his Delta Force tattoo. And then it turns out that the leader of the gang, Shuggy, is like, oh, I'm also Delta Force. We're bros.
At first it's like, oh, he saw the tattoo, and they really like drawn it. I was like, what the heck tattoo does he have? Because I was like, this is gonna be bad.
With all this white supremacist stuff going on, I'm really
And they're like, no, it's Delta Force.
It's Delta
I was like,
Force.
oh, okay.
And then Shuggy shows his Delta Force tattoo on his arm.
They bond over Delta Force and the fact that they both hate Van Ness, the general.
Yeah. Oh, Van Ness. Yeah, they're like, yeah, Van Ness sucks. Van Ness is super racist.
Yeah. We find out that the club has a $200,000 hit out for Wolf.
Yeah, because no other Black Viceroy likes Wolf but Shuggy, who's the leader of that specific group that was bothering him. And he's like, nobody's under our protection. Nobody bug him.
He's my brother.
And all the other Black Viceroys are like, there's a lot of money out for this guy's ass. So.
It's like 200,000's a lot. And he's like,
not in military honor points. All right, we're not going to get any good boy stars for that.
So, yeah, he's under his protection. We find out that Stan Grampus, which is the worst name ever.
Stan Grampus.
is the shooter for Pierce's shooter.
Yeah, so Pierce is micromanaging Mick Wolfe as he's trying to get who shot Pierce's image down. So he's trying on his computer. Pierce is like, did you try this? Did you do that? He's like, stop micromanaging me. But yeah, it's Stan Grampus.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Also,
Grandpa Stan.
Krampus. The Grampus.
He works for Fixers. He's an assassin.
Yeah. Wolf
Shocker.
got a piece of paper that said he has to look under D and behind B.
He got it from Blank.
Yeah.
Because he goes back to the homeless camp and Blank slips something into his pocket.
Oh, because he's talking about, like, Tranter comes up right again, or no?
No, Blank's just being weird and pretending like he doesn't know him.
Well, someone else popped up and was talking to him, and so he was like, I don't know this guy, and he had slipped something in his pocket.
So the note said this will change everything with an address, memorize, and then destroy this. So then he goes to this restaurant named Fur and Gully, and it's under the dumpster behind a brick. He finds a package.
Also, he's like under the dumpster. I'm like, dude, you could move the dumpster. They have wheels.
But they'll see it.
Just like
the dumpster gives protection.
Like,
okay, new character introduced. We have chapter 7. Celine
Garnera. She is from the Marine Corps, but she served on a Navy ship, so she doesn't have a lot of experience except for the fact that she was
a paper pusher or whatever.
Yeah, she was also security something, but she was like, my CO made sure I wasn't sexually harassed, although I got asked out all the time because
I'm so beautiful.
I'm like, well, good for you, because I think it's 2/3 of women in the military are sexually assaulted. So
she wants justice for Ruth Medina.
Yes, who we find out is the CIA attaché that Wolf talked to.
Yeah.
She transferred a file.
Used to have dinner with her all the time.
Yeah.
They were like BFF.
Ladies, let's stay together.
And so, yeah, Ruth sent her a sketchy file. It was so funny that it was like, do you have that thing on your phone that if we touch phones, they like transfer files?
You mean a file transfer?
And she's like, I think so. And she's like, can we just like maybe test that out a little bit, like try it?
This is the part that I thought was super confusing because she's like, I'm going to send you a file, but you have to pretend like you're looking at a photo. And so Celine brings up her own photo. And then something on her...
The file is in the photo.
The file's in the photo, though. So she transferred the file into the JPEG?
Yeah. So she's like, okay, cool boat.
You can't... I've seen... It's been in other movies where in the photo, there's like...
Yeah, you can put it into another program, and then it will, I've seen that too.
But this one, like, attached it to her own photo?
I don't know.
Which was weird.
Watch Dogs is on its own weird earth.
Yeah, so Ruth transferred a file for safekeeping to her, then no one heard from her again. But they did, because they found her body.
They said she was drunk and fell off a boat,
but then she was found in pieces.
Thrown off of a boat, and people thought she got eaten by marine life. Yeah. Which means she was pretty far down there then. Yeah. They scraped the bottom, which is bad for marine life.
But also, if she's in the ocean, how the heck are you going to find her?
It's a great question. Well, they said they scraped the bottom of the ocean. The whole ocean. All of it. That's what they do.
Tides. That's why I'm like, there's stuff in this book that was
fishing now. You can't scrape the bottom because you ruined coral reefs.
But it was not thought out.
It's bad. I just went to an aquarium.
Education. Wolf. We're on Wolf's story now, right? He gets a phone. He gets the phone.
Mick unwrapped the package, and it's a phone and a Bluetooth device. So he's like, I'm going to test out this Watchdogs phone.
And it's like Pierce's phone. He cloned it. So he's got all the cool apps, which tells him directions.
He does the weirdest thing to test this phone out. He just went full aggressive. I thought you would be like, I'm turning off lights and turning on traffic signals. No. Mick Wolfe over here, he goes to the club territory and he knocked out a thug and then he hacked his phone and then he robbed him.
Yeah.
And
Ken Brown. So he runs into a red-haired club thug whose name is Ken Brown, but really it's Buford Duck Keating because he uses like CTOS to take his picture and find out who it is.
Uses his phone,
robs him,
asks him about Grampus, and he's like, he's on 77th. And then once he's like, get out of here, thug. The thug calls his backup, and he's like, some guy just mugged me.
Yeah, so it's gonna take us like 30 minutes to get there, and Wolf is laughing. He's like, "What a loser!" And my note on here is, he shouldn't have given him the phone."
Everyone on the phone was like, "You got beat up by a guy. You're such a loser." But also, like, Wolf robbed him for like $500.
Yeah, because he was trying to rob Wolf.
Because he was like, "What do you want? Money?" And he's like, "Yeah, I actually do."
He's like,
want.
"I just got out of prison, so I don't have any money."
I would love money, thank you. This is being a gray bad guy right there. Yeah. He's like, I'm gonna test out my phone by robbing some poor guy,
beating up and robbing this club thug.
So Mick sent a message to the FBI telling him, because this guy, I guess he's not a poor guy because he's part of a human trafficking ring.
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, FBI, it's me, not Aiden. Did you know that the human trafficking guy is over here? Just wanted to let you know. I'm sure the FBI was like,
him.
What?
You're welcome.
I'm sure they didn't do anything about that. They probably be like, who's calling me right now?
This is a piece of information that we will never check out.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 8.
He waited for the club gang to come shake him up because he was listening to the phone call.
They never came because they don't care about him.
Yeah, he's listening in on the gang members. Then he harassed the car. He caused a car crash to happen. The gang members did show up. And then he caused them to crash into each other, and then he harassed the car crash victims. I know that they're gang people, but like, come on, dude.
He does it again later, but...
And then one guy's like straight up dead in the car.
Yeah, he does kill quite a few people.
He's like, let me test out this phone by stealing someone's money and murdering people with their car. It's okay, they're part of the club. They suck.
Chapter 8, Celine meets with DedSec because she's got that file and she has a connection. Mm-hmm. And so she meets Glowworm. I was like, oh, how cute.
Yeah, it's cute. He's like a punk kid.
Yeah.
It's weird that they were talking about his gauges, but they didn't say gauges. They said big round earrings that go to his shoulder.
And maybe he didn't have the gauge in, though. So she has the file that the CIA lady gave her. John
Shirley doesn't know what gauges are.
He's part of the hacking community. He should.
Yeah, they all have gauges.
The file that she has, it's Wolf's file. It's in a JPEG. So Callow was stalking the CIA agent lady, and Celine wants to leak the files online.
Then we hashtag over to Lou Keskel doing a job for Aiden Pierce.
Because he is a former Bloom CFO, Chief Financial Officer. And Blank, who is everywhere, shows up.
He gives him a phone, and the phone is a direct line to Aiden. And Keskel wants to stop Roger Varick.
So he's like, it's encroaching on my territory, and this guy's a jerk.
Yeah. Keskel tells Aiden he's connected to a white imperialist named Marlon Winters. And he is also on Iceberg Investments board. Mm-hmm. Marlon Winters is. He also tells him Varick is trying to take over Bloom. Blum. Is it Blum or is it Bloom?
I thought it was Bloom.
Blume. Steve Blum.
Steve Bloom.
Aiden says thanks, and then the phone explodes. But it's okay. Keskel threw it out the window. He's still okay.
He has multiple things where his phone's.
I wrote the phone explodes. I remember being like, I should probably write that he's okay. He's okay.
It starts to like smoke, and then he's like, "Oh shit, I forgot he told me this."
In 10 seconds, the phone will explode.
Wolf
went to the old Elk Lodge on 77th because that's where they said that Stan Grampus was going to be.
Mm-hmm. And Grampus has ties to Winters, and Winters has ties to Varick. Mm-hmm. And then I wrote, "Ew, purity is white nationalism."
I'm not even surprised at all.
And Jen Van Ness is there because he's going to give a speech.
Wolfe decides to climb to the lodge's roof, since they're PMC guys outside. Private military contractors.
The gray water or whatever it is.
Yeah, I just put PMC.
It's not black water, it's gray water.
It's gray water. They changed their name though. They're not black water anymore. They're like cuddly investment group.
They're puddle water now.
Murky water.
Murkies. Call because that would be better. Murkies because they're
murky,
like
murkies are murky.
they're like mercenaries, but
murky waters.
Yeah, I didn't write about a lot about this.
He took out one guard on the roof. You're just like, I'm out.
Yeah.
So Mick is in the attic. He can see the speaker talking to a crowd about white supremacy.
But he stole like their big ass gun and he's like carrying it around.
He keeps specifically they're like
I didn't write it down.
They keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Because these PMCs have one gun. It's called a MAC-10.
Yeah.
And so he steals the MAC-10s all the time.
But then also when he's at this white nationalist convention, they're like, hey, dude, no automatic weapons here.
I know. I welcome to Chicago, I guess. They're like, you can have it, because all of the people there are strapped.
They're armed. So he's like, I'd fit in just fine here.
They're like, you can't have automatic weapons.
I have a gun.
And I was like, what is this, California?
And so he like tries to sit down and like close to Grampus so that he can... Basically, he's on a mission for Aiden right now. Although it's his own mission too, because Barrick and Vanessa.
He went into the crowd. He sees Van Ness and he sees Stan Grampus, and they're sitting next to Winters. And somehow he knows what that guy looks like, but he has the phone, so whatever. They know Wolfe is here because
someone found the guard.
Someone found the guard he took out because he woke up. Because obviously, knocking out somebody, they're not going to stay knocked out for very long unless they're dead. So the PMC says, no automatic weapons. And then Wolfe shoots a guard and he's like, oh no, guys, there's a guy with a gun here. Quick, get him.
So everyone's trying to escape. And
so Wolfe vents away and he drops his MAC gun because his MAC gun's too big. He creates a blackout and then he has to choose which van to follow. So he chooses to follow the SUV that Grampus was in. Meanwhile, Putzler doesn't feel safe in the safe house. That's the actor.
Yeah, so that's the fake EMT guy.
Yeah.
And he doesn't trust Maris, who was the...
Maris.
Who was the...
Programmer.
And we find out that Maris is hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. And why Aiden Pierce did not run a background check on these people?
Pierce sucks. And I know
we literally have a phone that tells you all information about anyone.
So Putzler wants to stay in a safe house that Merwis doesn't know about, and Pierce thinks Merwis could have sold him out, could have been the one that sold him out, because of his gambling problem. And Pierce is like, I'm gonna handle this myself. Mm-hmm. So that's happening in the background. Meanwhile, Wolfe is following Grampus's car.
Yeah.
But actually, no. The beginning of chapter 9 is Pierce going to one of the safe houses that he put Putzler. Mm-hmm. Putzler, right? Putzler, and it's such a terrible name. Putzler. And he finds Putzler.
So I'm like, look at Pierce, a real estate mogul. He's got all of these.
Got so many.
So the apartment complex he bought, so he could have a safe house, but also old people live there, so he's doing rent control for them because he doesn't need the money. Nice. So I was like, look at you, Pierce. But also,
landlord
don't have your safe house, which is dangerous to have.
I bet his internet's insane.
Around old people.
He has cameras in the showers.
Oh, that's so creepy.
Well, he does.
Yeah, I know he does, but
why does he have cameras in the showers? Just in case.
He's got to watch the people in the... It's his entertainment.
That's how he gets off.
Watch TV. Oh, gross. There's no one there. Putzler in the shower again.
So yeah, he finds Putzler stabbed by a hunting knife.
He's like on death's door.
He's not dead yet though.
No.
Putzler tells him he's in the bathroom. He's like, Maris is in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So Maris comes out and tries to shoot Pierce, but he left the safety on.
Pierce is like stupid.
So Maris told Tranter where Aiden was.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's like, he said he would help me with my debt because I got gambling debts.
And Pierce just shoots him, and he's like, man... Should have done
like I gave you a chance because he knew that he had a gambling problem, but he didn't have any debts when he first hired him. But then after he hired him, he started to gamble the money, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So Aiden's paying him pretty well though.
Yeah, and so he thought that Tranter was going to help him. Which, come on, son.
So
And then Pussler's also dead. So
yeah,
that's,
Pussler's dead.
I was like, there's so many people in this book that keep popping in and out, but now
I'm
they
kind of
all
sad
keep
because I like
dying.
Pussler. He
Yeah.
seemed chill.
They all keep dying, so you
Just a
don't have to know
junkie.
them for long.
Aiden tries to help people, but
Can't help people who won't help themselves.
so Wolf is still following Grampus.
And calls Pierce.
texts him, is checking in, and Wolf is like, tells him where Grampus went. And Pierce is like, I'll deal with
He's
this myself.
mine.
I just dealt with that myself. I'm gonna deal with this myself.
I just murdered someone, so take 2.
I might be a little concussed, but doesn't mean I'm out.
So then Wolf's like, fine, I'm gonna trail. He might need help, so I'm gonna trail the police, the Tranter guy. And then Pierce like sneaks into the house where Grampus is. Such a awful name.
He's also hacking Grampus's email,
Yeah.
but he can't decode it because it's one of those.
Yeah, you type it, like the letters automatically change.
Yeah.
So he sneaks in and he stabs him and locks the door and then leaves out the window.
He sets off the fire alarm,
Yeah.
and the guards go check it out, letting Pierce into Grampus's room, and Pierce points a gun at him, and Grampus yells, but Aiden stabs him in the face. Pierce turns off the power for the whole block and then jumps out of a window. Meanwhile, Wolf is following Tranter, and Tranter notices and calls the cops on him.
And so Pierce he like parks the car that's stolen, and because he keeps stealing cars with his phone, and then
Alexis.
Pierce has to pick Wolf up.
The cops saw him change cars, so yeah.
They're watching CTOS, and so
Pierce helps Wolf by blowing up water mains.
Oh, I didn't even remember that.
And so he's driving, and then like he stops the cop cars by like the manholes are hitting the cop cars, and then picks him up. So then Wolf is taking a nap, and Aiden wakes him up and is like, "I decrypted Grampus's email."
Because
I just thought I'd share.
Face is on the PC because he's not going to stay in the same area that Wolf is.
It says Purity is going to kill a lot of people and bring new world order.
Which, once we find out what the actual plan is it millions of people?
I mean,
I guess, I don't know.
it's kind of a weird plan,
It was a
but
stupid plan.
they need more proof, so they need that file that Celine gave to DeadSec.
Yeah, because Wolf doesn't know about it, but Pierce is like, yeah, DeadSec is saying they have this file, but they need to verify it. And it's Wolf's file.
Yeah. Email was sent to Bloom's cabin in the woods, and Mick's got to go check out that cabin, the one that Varric was in, shooting deer for fun with his drone.
But yeah, so he's like, one of us has to go, but I have a concussion, so I can't go.
I'm not going to handle this myself.
So Wolf, guess
After
what?
2 whole times of being like, let me handle this myself, he's like, never mind, I don't want to. The
Uh,
woods? Ew. You can go, Mick.
I can't leave the city.
I can't leave the city.
Tuck my
I have
pearls.
allergies.
Also, we get a little shot back to Glowworm tells Celine to go into hiding.
Watch your back, destroy your phone. And so she's like, okay. And
But how do I contact you if I don't have my
she like
phone?
burns her circuit board, which is smart.
Yeah.
And yep, chapter 11, Wolf is cold.
He goes to the smart house where we find out that's where the dead deer still is. Although the nerdy guy was like, "Do you want us to go get the deer for dinner?" And
Yeah.
Varric's like, "No, just leave
Let
it."
it rot. He sees the dead deer and he sees a PMC. So Wolf takes out the PMC and takes his Mac-10. And Wolf hears Varric's voice.
He hacks into the smart house with his phone.
And then
He turns on the heat.
the drone starts shooting at Wolf.
Yeah, so he turns on the heat.
He hacks into
he
the
hears the
drone's
conversation. He finds out that Quinn and the club were on the Pierce hit. And then the drone comes out, and he's able to hack into the drone, but Varric then knows it's him.
Yeah. Well, because he's talking over the loudspeaker in the house.
Yeah.
He's like, Varric, I'm going to turn up the heat. Tell me about Purity. The PMC does wake up and goes after Wolf, and that causes him to destroy the drone.
Like, didn't he handcuff him to the fence, and they were, like, looking at the cameras? They're like, what's that?
Yeah.
And they're like, there's a guy handcuffed. And
Like, that's not normal.
but we can't get out. They do eventually get out, and
Because they're like, if you come out of this house, because Mick is like, if you get out of this house, I'm going to shoot you with this drone. So you can't leave. But then once the PMC wakes up and unhandcuffs himself and then goes attacks Mick, he ends up destroying the drone.
yeah.
And so now he has no leverage. So
Barrett comes out, he
Garrett
almost
comes
shoots
out
him.
with a gun.
But Wolf escapes.
Wolf steals his car and drives it into the lake.
Really hates that guy.
It's kind of awesome. Yeah, so Wolf tells Pierce about
Quinn.
Neil Quinn. Neil?
No, so it's Niall. But
Niall?
so I had the same
Son of
thought
Dermot Quinn.
that Pierce had, where it was like, Quinn, but I killed Quinn, and I was thought, Quinn, but Quinn dies in the first game.
Yeah, it's his
Lucky
son.
Quinn. It's so Niall's his son, and I was like, that Lucky Quinn was like 1,000,000 years old.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm sure he had a bunch of kids though.
Probably.
So Niall went to Varric, who Varric then went to Tranter, and Tranter hired Grampus to kill Pierce.
Yes. They also tell him about Starling, the stinky guy. They talk about him for a second. And then he dumps Varric's car in a lake. And now we're back to Glowworm and Celine. They're meeting up.
On a bridge. Where no cameras are.
He gave her a flash drive.
He's like, here, we can't upload this. It's yours.
Yeah, they're being weird about it.
Yeah, DedSec sucks in this book.
DedSec sucks. They're like, oh, it's too sketchy. We can't do that.
I'm like, you're an anonymous hacker group, sir. What is the point of you if you're not going to
We find out
this?
later that, like, the whole Chicago is basically, like...
Their internet is like China, where they only allow certain websites through. Anything
uploaded about Varric gets automatically blocked. And I guess DedSec just can't figure it out.
But there's, like, one, like, internet thing.
There's one computer somewhere
in,
like, gang territory that can upload freely. So... But I guess... Whatever, DedSec can't do it.
But Glowworm gets shot in the head.
Yep. Glowworm gets sniped in the head. Oh, I also said that Celine went gaudy with her disguise.
Oh yeah, she's wearing the worstest.
She's wearing a big wig and like
giant
big
glasses.
rhinestone glasses.
Like she stands out. She's not blending in. And she looks like she's in disguise.
So, like, after Glowworm gets sniped, she, like, throws her wig in the air to distract it and then, like, books it out of there. Wolf hears about the shooting on the news. And Pierce is like, it's probably Purity, you know?
Yeah, and then we get the sex slave ring that Niall runs. And then I also put, who's T-Bone? But I guess T-Bone was from the beginning.
Wolf find Aiden, and they need to talk to DedSec. So
the best option to get to DedSec is through T-Bone.
And T-Bone hooks them up with Garnet.
I'm like, doesn't Pierce have contacts with DedSec?
Well, he says in the book, he's like, DedSec doesn't like me very much. My only contact, I guess, is T-Bone. But T-Bone's saying that they should meet with Garnet, who's in and out of DedSec, like friends with DedSec.
And he's like totally tattooed.
But Garnet's gonna need money.
Yeah.
So Wolf in chapter 13 calls Garnet and he's like, wire me some money and maybe I'll give you some info. So then he wires him the money that he needs. And then
which he didn't have money, but I guess he's stealing all the ATMs. He's doing the ATM trick with
he's
the
like,
phone.
I'm stealing from bad guys. It's okay. Yeah. I'm beating people up and then using their phone to hack their bank accounts and steal their money.
Like you do in Watch Dogs.
I run them over with my car and then I hack their phone and then I steal their money.
Or I steal their car and you find stuff in the glove department.
So, hashtag someone's following Celine.
So the person that he is his contact is Celine. Those two people aren't even in DedSec. They're
in and out of DedSec. They're friends with DedSec. I would say that Celine is friends with DedSec.
I'm gonna need my money back, sir, because you were supposed to get me in contact with DedSec, but you gave me someone who had talked to DedSec at one point and said they couldn't help her.
Who even is DedSec?
But yeah, she looks an awful disguise. She's being followed. She decides to go sit in a bar.
Yeah, she goes to a bar to try to shake him. He sits down next to her and is like, your disguise is awful. And the guy is Mick Wolfe.
Yeah. And so she has a salad and he has a steak and they talk.
So yeah. Meanwhile, Varric is pulling his car out of the lake. And Tranter's like, you want me to kill Wolf? I'm going to need double pay now.
Yeah, that's funny.
And Varric's like, oh, sure. Okay, fine.
Before that, we find out that they have to go to... they have to get a laptop. So Celine and Wolf have to upload this thing themselves now.
Yeah, because DedSec is pointless.
Yeah, so they're like, there's a laptop at a train station, and that you got to upload the files yourself.
They have to meet up with Blank. That's their next thing.
So they get the computer from Blank
on a plastic bag. It was
Like
with
he
the
was
bubble
sitting
wrap
there.
laptop.
Yeah. Then they got up and they're like, "Hey, this guy left something."
Yeah, this homeless man left a plastic bag. We should pick it up.
They were followed into the building and they are shot at and they have to escape in an elevator. And they
Celine's also staying at Wolf's safe house.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're getting followed by the PMC from the lodge. They run into a fancy high-rise apartment, and they go up through the elevator as the PMC opens fire in the lobby.
Yeah, she got distracted by this old lady with her dog.
So the PMC stop the elevator, and they crawl out onto the 8th floor.
And they have to go down the stairs now.
I think they go up, don't they?
Oh, yeah, because they go to the roof.
Yeah. So chapter 14, we cut to Pierce, who's talking to Garnet.
Who says DedSec?
He's like, what's the holdup with uploading the file with DedSec?
So you're literally all you're good for, DedSec.
And DedSec is scared because they think they have a mole.
Yeah.
Pierce says, I'll just do it myself. Fine. Pierce is worried about Wolfe. Wolfe is shooting at the PMC as they're on the roof trying to steal a helicopter.
But also, if they're worried about it, why didn't they just give it to Pierce?
Because they don't like Pierce. It says so right here. DedSec doesn't like Pierce. I don't know what he did in the first game, but they don't like him.
Yeah. I think he ends up betraying that girl. There's the girl in Dead.
Maybe we should replay Watch Dogs.
Started it. I didn't get very far.
I don't even remember much of what happened.
Well, I know that your DedSec which is like Bad Boy 17 or whatever, it is, ends up being like a young girl.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He choked her, and she's like, "Why would my name be my description?" Hello, sir. We are anonymous. So they're at the roof. Is that where we're at?
They're on the roof. They're getting shot at.
There's a helicopter.
They're about to hack the chopper.
Get on the chopper.
So they get in the chopper. They're getting shot at. The chopper is losing elevation and it slams into the water.
Stupid, because the chopper was already shot before they got in it, and they didn't notice, and then it was like smoky, and they're gonna crash.
They slam into the water in Wolf Lake, Indiana.
He's like, if I had, I'd change it to W.
I put an E at the end of it. LOL. Anyway, I'm gonna steal a car. Chapter 15. Celine and Wolf are looking at the laptop.
Yeah, they have to go to Washington Park.
It's not wet. It's fine. It was double wrapped and
bubble wrap. Bubble wrap.
So it's fine, even though they fell in the lake.
Mm-hmm.
The laptop says anything uploaded to Wi-Fi about Varric is blocked, as we know. They found a location where the blockage isn't happening, and it's one of the toughest neighborhoods in Chicago. So then they go to bed.
Yeah, I keep calling her Selena. Celine is at the safe house. So they made it back.
Wolf calls Pierce to tell him about Celine, and he's like, you should talk to Celine.
Don't you want to meet her?
Because, like, I kind of want to talk about you with her, and I can't unless you meet her, so can you, like, do that? I think...
Is this the shower part where he's like...
Yeah, well, he's like, I can just see her in the shower.
She takes showers several times in this book. Because, one, they were in the lake water, but, two...
Well, another one...
I don't need to know every time she showers.
Another one that was because the building got destroyed, and she was all covered in dust. Pierce shows up on this TV screen and is like, nice to meet you. I'm Aiden Pierce.
But then they're going to go to this Washington Park place. They run into Shuggy, and he warns them about the worst gang name ever.
Splinter faction of the Black Viceroys called...
Chunky.
The Chunky Crunkies. So the Chunky Crunkies, they're going into Chunky territory, and the Chunky Crunkies are hiding the like area or the area where they can upload.
You advice for it? No, I'm a chunk.
They're a chunky. So the crunky. So they go into the neighborhood and they immediately get firebombed.
Yeah, they get Molotov'd on their car. Shuggy was like, orange.
Yeah, I know.
That'd be crazy. They're so chunky.
Yeah, so chapter 16, they get out of their car because it's just got
and there's oil all over the road because
they're surrounded by chunkies.
But also, why isn't the fire going on the oil? Because the oil is like you slip and fall and they rob you. But then I was like, there's fire. Why is it not?
It's non-flammable oil. They run into the oil-slicked roads, shooting at the chunky crunkies, and then they slide into a house. And it sounds like that the chunks are working with Trander.
Yeah.
So
This guy gets around. Like, he hires lots of people.
You know, as an evil henchman, he does a pretty decent
Which is
job.
probably why he needs to get paid twice, because he's got expensive minions.
So they went into the sewers. Wolf is listening to Trander and Varric's conversation, and Varric is like, I'm sending the drones out.
Sending the drones.
So he calls Pierce for help, and he calls Shuggy for help.
Yeah.
And Shuggy's like, I don't know, man. Like, why would I...
Because he gives them the Delta Force motto, and I
Yeah.
was like, to liberate the oppressed, that's the Delta Force motto.
And he's like, I'm already oppressed right now.
Yeah, and he's like, the black man, the white guy is asking the black man.
Both Pierce
to
and
end his
Shuggy
oppression.
were like, no. Not gonna help you with that.
And then he's like, well, we'll just take turns. Like, you free me first. There's a wolf to Shuggy, and Shuggy's, and then I'll take you out of oppression. I was like...
So he's like, because drones are coming at them now in the sewers.
Chunk.
So the drones are coming. What?
I was like, Chunk Crunkies is the stupidest game.
Chapter 17, they're running from the drones. Wolf tries to hack the drones, and then he gets a call from Sterling being like, you
Sterling.
can't hack my drones. Not underground.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Because there's no GPS underground.
So he has to get above ground.
Yeah.
So,
So then he gets shot by a drone.
They're getting boxed in.
Like,
Wolf
in the shoulder.
opens a manhole cover. They climb out. They close the drones into the sewer. A car is coming after them. They run into the house.
What if... Because there was an old lady that saw them get out, and she, like, threw her walker and, like, booked it.
Yeah.
And he's like, so what if someone calls the cops? I'm like, no one is calling the cops in
No
this
one's
neighborhood.
calling the cops.
Come on.
They run into a house. They get a message from Blank, like, in the house.
Oh, they're jumping fences, and the dog, he almost gets attacked by a dog, but she uses the hose to, like...
She doesn't want... She's like, no killing dogs.
He's like, good, because I didn't want to kill a dog. Like, that could have not been in there.
So the basement in this house has one computer, and they start uploading when the chunkies start to surround them.
The message from Blank was a picture. He's like, you have to go under the basement.
Down. There's
like,
an arrow.
It was a wolf, and then, like, yeah.
Wolf and an arrow. Wolf down.
So, yeah, they have to go in the basement. Oh, the house has an old TV satellite on it.
And yeah, they're getting surrounded by the chunky crunkies. But then Snuggy comes. Seeing them. So Shuggy and his gang shows up, and they take out basically all of the chunky crunkies.
Which the chunkies were their, like, rivals, so it makes sense that they would take back their territory.
Well, I mean, that's when Wolf calls. He's like, aren't you guys, like, rival? Could you just shoot them? And he's like, man, I don't want to.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they take out all the chunkies. Shuggy shoots some of the drones.
Yeah, the drones show up, and
When
he's
Wolf
got
is like, don't kill the last one. Don't kill the last one. I want to hack it.
I need it.
So he hacks it, and Shuggy drives Wolf and Celine to the police barricade that Trancher set up, so they can't leave. And Wolf's like, check this out, and he shoots at the barricade, but like doesn't, he like shoots at the ground.
Yeah.
Right? So the cops get a little scared, and then he explodes the drone, and then while the cops are like, hit the deck, they like drive around the barricade.
And then, he's like, let's go back to my place. I was like, dude, Wolf, you're staying here as a guest. This is not your place. Just moves in, drinks the...
So he's like, yeah, Shuggy, you want to come up for a drink? And they're like, yeah, I definitely do. And then Trancher shows up and points a gun at Wolf. This is in front of his safe house.
He's like, yeah, we've been watching you.
So chapter 18, Trancher's like, the drones saw you? Yeah, you got a hideout up there, buddy? Trancher says surrender. Celine is trying to distract him while Wolf texts for help.
Yeah.
It's so funny because Celine is like, oh, what if you just let me and
Let's make a
Shuggy
deal.
go? Because like Wolf sucks, and meanwhile Wolf's like texting on his phone.
And then one of the guys is like, hey, boss, he's texting.
He's texting. He's like, drop the phone. So Wolf drops the phone, and then a shootout happens with Trancher, the Mercs, and the Black Viceroys, because I guess he was texting the Black Viceroys to show up. Also, Pierce never helped him.
No.
The Black Viceroys did, though.
And then they surround Trancher, and they, like, beat him to death. And Wolf gives zero fucks about Trancher.
I mean,
Because Selena's like, they're gonna kill him, and he's like, yep, sure are.
Traitor
Let's go
sucks.
upstairs. Darling calls Varric, and they meet on the roof of.
They lost sight of Trantor,
Yeah.
and
Well, they found a bunch of bodies, and
they find
one
four
of them
POC
might
bodies
be
in Trantor.
Trantor.
Varric plans to just kill anyone who can connect him to the leaks because the leak happened, right?
Yeah.
The uploading was successful. So he's like, okay, I can't unleak that. So I'm just going to have to deny it really hard and kill anyone who can connect me with
And
it,
there's
which is
four
like 4
people.
people.
And then Wolf tells Selene, like, hey, this is dangerous. You should bow out.
Yeah, you know,
She's
your
like,
mission...
okay, I'll leave tomorrow.
Your mission's over. You don't have to do this anymore. And she's
Mission
like, you want me to
completed.
go? And he's like, yeah, I do. But he doesn't.
Because he has
But he
strange feelings about her.
Doesn't mean it. Chapter 19, Shuggy wakes up Wolf saying, you're about to get wrecking balled, dude.
He came in like a wrecking ball.
They
checked those. So Varric moved up the demolition, but demolition team, you have to check the house because there could be vagrants in there, and there's this large metal door that.
So they barely had enough time to get out.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't think they fully got out before it got wrecked. They were
No.
like at the bottom floor.
Yeah, they're covered in.
So they're covered in dust, and Shuggy's like, your life's too hectic for me. I'm kind of out after this.
And so Wolf calls Pierce.
Asking for another safe house, and Pierce is getting a checkup for his concussion. And Varric is on a press tour saying that this is all a lie by an ex-con. Pierce gives him a new safe house. Mick is being weird about Selene. That's what I put.
And I put, why is Selene always showering?
She's just stinky, I guess. Well, this time it's because she was covered in dust.
So the new safe house is under a pool hall, and they drink together.
So, like, Selene wants to talk to him, but he's ignoring her and picks up the phone and, because Pierce.
Like, oh, do you want something to eat? I just have this. Good, because I'm not a good cook. And
she's trying to talk to him about, like, how she doesn't want to leave, but he ignores her and calls Pierce. And Pierce tells him about Lawrence Bullock, who helped Varric get into Bloom and is part of Purity. No, not yet.
Okay.
19. The upload spooked Bullock, and he's going to go test out a self-driving car with some guy named Jakey Morrison.
So Varric is using the self-driving cars to clean up those who have dirt on him.
So Pierce is pretty sure that he's going to kill Bullock and Morrison in these self-driving cars, and he wants Wolf to save one of these dudes.
So they'll turn on Varric.
So that they'll talk. And Wolf is like, so you want me to torture them, right? And Pierce is like, whoa, man. Yeah, actually. If you could do that, that would be great.
The 4... So Bullock helped Varric get into Bloom. Morrison got Varric money. Montelier is a lawyer, and O'Mara owns a freight plane that took the money out of wherever they stole it from, and is also delivering it for Project Iceberg stuff.
So chapter 20, Wolf is looking for the automatic cars. He's driving around.
Test drive.
Bullock and Morrison get into their car, and they're super sketched out since they were chosen last minute to test out these cars.
And he's like, at first I wasn't a big deal, but the fact that you're here too, that's not good.
I'm suspicious. So the cars are speeding up. They see Wolf driving next to them, and he's like, he rolls down his window, and he's like, yeah, Varric's trying to kill you. And the other self-driving car in front of them, because
turns around.
We're just following Bullock and Morrison. The other car we don't have any POV of.
So they go off the track. Like they're supposed to be on this other track, but they like sped up and went off the track. Now they're on the freeway.
They're on the freeway. The other car like goes the wrong way on the freeway and is heading straight towards them. The other self-driving car spins, and it's heading towards them. Morrison jumps out and gets hit by a car.
Well, so Bullock like climbs to the front of the car because there is a self-driving feature, and so Wolf is somehow able to hack the car, but only
for like a little bit.
So he's able to swerve, and then as he swerves, the car comes past them and crashes. And the car stopped. Yeah. The one with Bullock and Morrison. So Morrison jumps out of the car, gets hit by another car. Bullock seems fine, but then like the car turns around and tries to hit him. All the other people in that other car are dead. So Bullock's the only one still
Wolf
alive.
Crashed into the self-driving car that was about to hit Bullock so that it would stop hitting Bullock. And
it's okay because he He stole that car.
It messed up his Acura. So he's like, okay, well, I'm scared now because I don't have a car and there's still like one self-driving car active.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die, and I have Bullock with me. And then Celine pulls
And Bullock's
up.
trying to just like escape. He's like, maybe I'll go home.
Yeah, she's like, I'll just walk home. Celine pulls up in her Camry and is like, get in. So she picks up Bullock and Wolfe, and they're heading towards the safe
He's like,
house.
did you steal this car? She's like, no, I rented it,
Yeah,
loser.
dummy, I have a credit card. Chapter 21, Starling tells Varric everyone is dead but Bullock.
Mm-hmm.
And they can kill Bullock by hacking his implant device for his insulin, because he has diabetes.
They're gonna, but also, this is another thing. I have a friend who's diabetic and she has automatic insulin. John Shirley, do your freaking research, man. This is not how this works at all. Like,
maybe in this weird future.
2014. Also, 2014, they didn't have a lot of these, but he's like, oh yeah, I have an insulin thing and I can just fill it and it lasts for months. No, it does not. All right, rant over.
Okay. Neil Quinn visits.
Yeah, so Niles shows up and he has a temper because at first, isn't it like Varric in a robe? Is that?
He's always nude. I just assume he's nude.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, you want a drink? He's like, I don't make Irish whiskey. And he's like, I've got this. Is that good? And then he like throws his glass against the wall and
classic mob boss move.
And then Colin is there. I'm like, who's Colin?
Quinn confirms that he wants Pierce dead, and he wants him dead still. Since Varric failed, he's like, Pierce is still alive, and he's like,
you either owe me money,
I haven't seen him.
Owe me his death.
Varric tells him that he will kill Aiden. Don't worry about it. No problem. I'll do it
for free. I'll do it. I put Bullock is having a bad day. He's now blindfolded.
Yeah,
in the back of the car.
They blindfold Bullock so that he wouldn't see where the safe house location, and they interrogate him. He used to work for Van Ness, and he was part of Purity.
General secretary, and when Wolfe had his trial, he was there because Wolfe's like, you look familiar, and he's like, oh, I was in uniform before. I know you.
So Mick says, spill the beans or we'll tell the Justice Department.
This is the stupidest plan. So
he tells them about Purity and Iceberg. Purity is trying to control the media, but then they kind of jumped the gun and started to do other stuff as setting the stage. They hate diversity and socialists. They're really, yep. And so Project Iceberg is, you want to drum roll, please?
So
their evil plan.
They're going to use these drones to fly up and hack the airplanes from O'Hare Airport to crash them into areas that are
diverse,
minority specific, and poor.
It's rain and jets.
And then they're going to use that to have Varric then totally take over Bloom and have full access to CTOS. And I was like, we've had plane crashes before. Things tend to stop working. Like, people take a pause on a bunch of stuff when there's a mass murder of jets. So that's not going to work.
And, like, it's not going to get connected to you guys either.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the chaos, Varric was going to insert his own people and push for CTOS everywhere so that he can take over the world.
Stupid.
His plan on crashing planes. Yeah, okay, we were talking about that. The attack will take place tomorrow.
Yeah, they have to, because of Wolfe, they had to speed up the timeline.
Chapter 22, Pierce was told...
when they're like, hey, we can drop you off at the airport, and Bullock's like, did you not just hear what I told you? Their planes are going to go down at this specific airport.
Pierce was told it's for sure Quinn who hired Varric, who hired Tranter, who hired Grampus. So now he knows. This cleared up.
Like, Niall, I'm coming for you, sir.
They take... This seems like a setup for like a Watch Dogs 2 with Aiden. Aiden, isn't he in Legion now? Didn't they have a DLC with him?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there was an Aiden
DLC in one of them.
Yeah, because we did that side quest.
But this seems like a setup for like, I gotta take out Neil Quinn, you know? But it's not, because that never happens.
Yeah.
So they take...
Celine takes...
Bullock to train station. Yeah. He plans on going to LA. Somebody runs up to Bullock and hacks an insulin injector, putting him into shock. It was Starling.
Yeah.
Celine then dips. Because Celine was the only one who took him there.
Yeah.
And then she comes back to
She's
Mick's
like,
hideout.
Oh, he needs medical assistance. And then she ran.
Yeah. It's like, he's dead now.
Which you can die from an insulin overdose. So that is a...
So Wolf is gonna go see Doolin, a special agent. He goes into his office and he finds Keskel. Remember him?
Yeah.
And
he had to go
Doolin
through Keskel to make an appointment with Doolin.
dead.
Tied to a chair with their throats slashed. And he's like, he listens at the door and he can hear voices. And then he follows the voices.
He opens the door and like General Van Ness and one PMC is there. And they're like, they have all the equipment to tie somebody up and slash their throat. And they're like, oh, you found us.
Swirling mustaches and all.
So
there's a shootout.
They wiretapped Keskel, and that's how they know where they were going to be and kill him.
He's like, this is literally the like FBI building.
Yeah, I know. He had to like be like, I have an appointment.
So he's like, wait, and he's like, Van Ness had to sign in.
And he was like, wait, Van Ness signed in too. They're gonna know it's you. You signed in. And they're like, we're hoping we can blame it on you. Actually, so the PMC shoots at Wolf.
And ends up shooting Van Ness, probably.
Shoots Van Ness.
He's like, I can't tell who shot him, but I hope it was me because I hate that man.
So he's just dead. Wolf jumps out of a 3-story window and he's climbing down a drainage pipe to get out.
His belt? He uses his belt to repel.
Action packed.
Project Iceberg has been moved up ahead. We see head to safety zones is the message that
I put in my notes. Oh my gosh. Pierce is talking to Aiden, but it's Mick talks to Aiden about how dead ass Van Ness is.
There were several typos in here, and one of them I was like, it's like Aiden has to go talk to Jewel, and I was like, but Aiden's talking right now. Why would Aiden say, Aiden, you have to go talk to
That was
Jewel?
A big complaint I saw in a bunch of people's reviews where they were like, there's so many typos here. I definitely saw one where it was supposed to be Mick Wolfe, but it was Aiden.
Yeah, it was Aiden, yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, Mick talks to Aiden about Van Ness is dead and Varric is at the airport is what Pierce tells Mick.
Mm-hmm.
And so Iceberg Project is happening tonight, not tomorrow anymore. So chapter 23, Wolf, Celine, and Pierce are all in the same safe house. Then they're going to the airport to check out Varric's cargo plane. Wolf goes to the hangar and he can't hack the aircraft.
So he sneaks on it instead.
Like the doors to the thing is closing, so he like jumps and goes into it.
And then hides in where the drone is and has to take people out one by one.
They're getting the drones ready for launch. He knocks out a mechanic, then he shoots a merc in the face, and then
it's the same guy that killed Doolin, so it's okay.
He takes one of them hostage, and he's like, "Okay, tell the people."
Prebo.
Prebo.
I was like, what kind of name is Prebo? That's okay.
Hopefully not his real name.
He doesn't. I was like, is that a last name? Is that a first name? What is this?
Prebo. So he's like, tell the people in the cockpit to come out. The drones are messed up. So he does, and then Varric comes out firing.
Yeah, he shoots
Prebo. Shooting.
Dead.
One shoot actually, he hits Wolf too.
Yeah, so it goes through Prebo and then lands in Wolf.
Wolf shoots at Varric. Wolf is losing a lot of blood. The drones are offloaded. Varric and Wolf fight on the floor. Wolf shoots Varric's arm and shoulder. Varric fell on a drone as it launched.
So Varric got yeeted with the drone.
Wolf calls Pierce, telling him to control the drones, and Pierce can only control one drone. And he's like, some dude is clinging onto one of the drones. And Wolf is like, oh, so he's alive. Okay. So,
it's okay, that one gets
that's okay. The drone gets struck by lightning. No, that drone like hits another drone, and then it lights on fire, and then Varric's charred ass gets thrown into the ocean. Could still be alive.
Could be. Blank part 2.
Wolf tells Starling to deactivate the drones, and Starling's like, no.
I am a white nationalist. I believe in our cause. And he's like, everyone else is dead, dude. You're
the pilot's like, I didn't sign up for shootings.
Just to kill all of these people on airplanes.
I didn't sign up for us to die. So the drone Aiden controls is heading towards the plane. And he's like, if you don't do it, I'm going to blow up this whole plane.
Yeah.
With me included. You know what? I'm losing blood. Yeah. I'm about to die. And he's like, you wouldn't. And he's like, I would. Yeah,
to Sterling.
And then Sterling deactivated the drones.
And then Sterling becomes a snitch. Like, he totally tells everything.
Well, he, like, because Wolf is like, you know, follow my orders now, little Igor. And he's like, okay.
Chain of command, military. He's like...
So, yeah, deactivates the drones. The Air Force tells him to land, and Wolf falls unconscious. Number 24.
We're in the hospital.
Blank gave his blood to Wolf and saved his life. Wolfe is like, so am I under arrest?
Yeah.
And people are like, I don't know. Maybe?
We didn't ask those questions.
Looks like they aren't going to prosecute Wolfe. He lost his Pierce phone. He shoved it down his pants before he passed out.
Yeah, and then the EMT
He's like, good
that
luck, the
picked him
EMT's
up.
going to have to touch my penis. He shoves it.
And he did.
So, yeah, he did.
Dude, EMTs like cut off clothing all the time and have to deal with random stuff. You don't think that
They have
person's
to
gonna steal
deal
your
with
phone?
so much stuff.
Well, also because there was the joke that he's like, "Well, how are you gonna get this phone back?" And Pierce is like, "I'm gonna melt it,
Yeah.
so don't have it in your pocket.
It's like, what if I don't give it back? And he's like, I will find you and I will melt that phone. I will explode it.
And if it's in your pocket, you're gonna need a testicular implant."
Yeah. So Iceberg is shut down, but Purity remains. Mick is discharged from the hospital. Celine finds him and is like, I'm going to hang out with you from now on and watch your back. And the Pierce's EMT took his phone and they go into her rental car and Celine makes out with Mick.
Oh, I thought this is the part where it was like 11 o'clock at night and I was falling asleep.
Yeah, so she freaking goes for it. She makes out with him in the rental car. And then Marlon Winters makes bail. He's the guy,
He's
basically
the financier
of
He's the
Iceberg and
millionaire,
Purity, yeah. He makes bail and is talking to Neil Quinn on a train.
because Niall is paranoid and so he's like, I'm gonna be on a train. It keeps moving, and then all of a sudden, like the train starts acting weird, and then on the loudspeaker comes Pierce because he's hacked into his.
Quinn wants to cooperate with Winters and Purity to take out Pierce and Wolfe because they're like, you don't like Wolfe and I don't like Pierce.
Yeah.
So what if we hung out together? So Aiden talks to them on train speakers, unlocks the train car, and starts rolling away. And he's like, yeah, I told your people that you wanted your train to be unhooked and to roll away, and they thought it was weird, but they did it.
Like follow orders.
Quinn tries to make a deal with Pierce, saying like, you can have Winters if you want.
Yeah.
He's
But-
like, you snake.
Yeah, Pierce also is like, you're the one that tried to get me killed, so no. And so Niall tries to shoot out the window, but because he like supercharged this train car, everything's bulletproof, and so he can't get out. The
So,
doors are locked and he can't open them.
A semi-truck with scrap metal is moving at full speed towards the train car. And basically, Pierce just hits
Watches.
the train car and with the thing,
Completely.
and then it explodes.
And they dead.
So Aiden's watching. Blank knocks on his window, gives him a little scare.
Gets in the car and they have a little chat.
Aiden gives Blank a ride. He's like, oh, I need to go volunteer at the soup kitchen.
Oh yeah, because he's like, I need to go to the food bank, and he's like, don't I pay you enough? And he's like, I volunteer there.
Yeah, I'm a good guy.
Yeah. And this is where we find out.
So yeah, he's like, you're gonna tell him. It turns out that Blank is Wolf's father. He did get burned in that house fire when it
The
exploded.
explosion.
But
He's not dead.
he's not dead. He just works for Aiden now.
But then we also find out that Wolf and Celine got married.
Yeah, they're getting married. He's like, you're gonna go to your son's wedding? And he's like, nah. Says Blank.
No. He's like, you should probably know that you're alive. He's like, that probably won't go well.
Yeah. So he drops Blank off at the food bank. T-Bone calls Pierce and is like, we got a new job. Meet me at the safe house. Aiden's like, sure. Ditches the car at the end.
The end.
The end. And
That is Watch Dogs in Dark Clouds.
in Dark Clouds or just Dark Clouds.
Dark Clouds.
It's doubled slash.
You have made it to the end of the Aiden Pierce saga. Because I don't think is there any more Aiden Pierce?
Besides the
stories?
DLC, and I think it's Legion that has an Aiden
No.
Pierce DLC, which
It
I
was
never
like the
played.
Fox, right?
I didn't play that one. I don't know.
We played that mission because you kept talking about how much you hated Aiden Pierce.
I just have a lot of
Because you
Aiden
thought
ones.
he was dead. You think he's dead, and then it's like, oh, he's actually still alive, but he's underground.
Yeah, obviously we read this
Yeah.
book. He's still alive.
Yeah. What's coming up next for us?
So next we're gonna read Dragon Age: The Missing by a bunch of different people.
It's a graphic novel, right?
It's a graphic novel. I think it's in 4 parts, and it's a story leading directly into the next Dragon Age, The Veil Guard, which is coming out in October 31st. So I'm excited because I love Dragon Age. And you know, it's funny, I bought the comic and then it went missing.
Nothing went missing.
So I had to rebuy it. So
So hopefully you get this one and it doesn't go missing twice. Because then
it's
that's
not the
sign.
missings, it's the missing. All right, we'll see you next time.
Next time.
Bye.
Bye.